don't got the black ups on. He's a little disappointed in that. But when you look at Crawford, man. I mean, he's supposed to be the toughest fighter of your career, but how do you kind of prepare for a guy like that? And is there somebody that you fought already that kind of maybe mimics his style a little bit, or not really?
Not really. I mean, when you get into fights like this, and the guy with his caliber and, just how he is and how he fights, you're not going to find anybody who fights like him. That's like Ray Leonard finding somebody who fights Tom Hearns or vice versa. So, I feel like that's how greatness shows. And on fight night, of course, I'm not going to get anybody to mimic him, but, I feel like that's when my greatness will come out. When his greatness come out, we clash together and we put on a great show. And I feel like people going to talk about this fight 40, 50 years from now. And just like how we talk about Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns, people going to talk about this fight. And you're going to have little kids and little amateur kids watching this fight. Like, man, I want to be in a fight like that. That's how I was when I was a kid. So hopefully we have the same people 40, 50 years from now. I'm an old man. They talking about they want to be like Errol Spence Jr, Terrence Crawford. They want to have a fight like that, and they want to get back to those type of days.
So Terrence, he was interested in a side bet, but he wouldn't give an absolute price. He left it up to you. Make a little side wager on the fight. You see Ryan and Tank do it. They didn't actually do it. Yeah. So, you ready to set the price for this little side bet here?
We did have a side bet, but, to be 100% honest, I gave him that when we was in negotiations to make the fight happen.
How much we talking here?
A lot more than our first bet.
What was the first bet?
Y'all know, y'all seen the video.
$1 million. Okay, so this one's bigger than $1 million, the side bet you guys made in negotiations.
Nah, it wasn't no side bet negotiation. I'm saying to make the fight happen, I gave him a lot more than the side bet. So
will there be a side bet on top of the negotiations?
No, because I gave him a lot more to make the fight happen.
I got you now.
Errol, you show a lot of respect. Tell us about why.
Because, he's a great fighter. And, I feel like, I'm just I'm the truth, so I feel like I'm a truthful guy. And, it's no knock to me. If he's a great fighter, I'm going to call somebody a great fighter. And I'm not going to diminish somebody and be like, man, you suck or you not good. Like, I'm going to give you your credit when credit is due. So,
Errol, you talk about body shots. You were talking about breaking them down. You're one of the best body punchers in the sport. How important is that in this type of fight, fighting a smaller fighter, albeit all-time great fighter?
It's always, to me, it's always important breaking the body down and going to the body first, because I feel like, you break the body down, everything else will fall into place. So for me, that's always been my style to, go to the body, then work the head. I mean, because the head is a smaller target than the body.
Errol, you always know that you're
just the jab. Do you feel as though Crawford has not everybody at welterweight, but do you feel like that's a little bit overblown? Because you keep telling them you haven't really fought anybody, so do you kind of take that with a grain of salt?
A little bit. I mean, yeah, he stopped everybody, but I'm not those people that he stopped. I feel like I'm a way better caliber than the guys that he fought.
So how long have you had Chris Algieri?
You got to move down a little
Chris Algieri, a message
Give me
to
1
Chris.
second, Dan.
Huh?
Give a message for Chris Algieri. I host a show with him.
Oh, yeah?
He said you're the Terminator.
I was telling Chris Algieri, what's up? Hope we doing well, man. He cooked good too, man. I wish I cooked like
Errol, not having a recognizable promoter can hurt you with the casual fans in regards to the fight.
Hang on there, Eddie.
Nah, not at all, not at all. I feel like, with social media and, and everything that's going on, you can promote yourself. You got too much stuff, TikTok, you got Instagram, YouTube, you got everything you can log on to promote yourself. It's really, if you want to be, that type of guy. So I'm not the guy that just be on YouTube and, post stuff all the time. Once I fight, I'm gone, I'm disappear. I gotta go.
Black up. Speaking of which, how long have you had?
Is this the most mutual respect you've had in it for an opponent?
Huh?
Is this the most mutual respect that you've had for an opponent coming into a fight?
Nah. I respect, most of my opponents. So this is not the most. I definitely got a lot of respect for them, but I had a lot of respect for Sean Porter and Raquel Brook and the rest of those guys. It's just, when you get on stage with somebody and he talking trash, you know, it's just natural for me to talk back. You know, I'm not a guy to talk too much, but when somebody's talking to me, I'm gonna talk back to you. You know, so you know, but it is a respect there, but it's not overly blown. Cause once the bell rings, the respect goes out the door.
You said he's had his eye on you since 2017. How long have you had your eye on him, and did you think this would ever happen?
I had my eye on him once I got the third belt. You know, that was my chance. This is my chance to get the fourth belt, so that's when I had my eye on him. But I ain't had my eye on him in 2017.
Hey, Errol, he predominantly he switches. One of the biggest things with him is that he switches from southpaw to orthodox. You are naturally a southpaw. How do you prepare for that, and what gives you such an advantage being a southpaw in this fight?
I want to ask you why you switch.
Switch what?
You know why you switch, and what happened to, what is that thing Terrence Crawford fought on?
BOK Prime?
Yeah. What happened?
It ain't happening right now.
Oh, yeah, okay. Hey, Errol, you were so Errol Spence, then you once Terrence Crawford got with BOK Prime, you flipped.
Hey, Errol, just like the sports team.
Your reach is going to be a huge advantage come fight night because obviously we can see that, we're doing the face-off. You're a little bit taller than him, and a lot of critics say that that's one of the keys to victory due to that.
Nah, I just feel like, it's going to be a lot of adjustments in fights. I feel like the fight going to, switch and, it's going to be back and forth, momentum switches and things like that. That's what you get with great fighters, but I feel like I'm just going to put on a great performance. I feel like the size wouldn't matter because, he looks like, he's right on weight and he's right there. So, people will see we'll probably be, the same size once fight week. So,
After the FaceTime conversation, did you guys realize that no one was ducking each other and that it was an easier fight to make?
Nah, it definitely wasn't an easy fight to make after talking to each other, but it just, when you just pride and other things gotta get put to the side for the bigger objective for things to happen. So basically talking to each other and just, hearing the stuff that he wanted and that he needed. I'm a very, rational guy and understanding dude too. I understood, the stuff that, that he wanted and the stuff that he was asking for, and I couldn't knock him forward. So I was just like, on some of the stuff, I just, put my pride down and just, let him have it.
Errol, Adrian Broner recently. And he reflected back on when you guys sparred, and he said, "And are we making too much about your size and strength, and not, or maybe overlooking the stuff Adrian's talking about?"
Yeah, a little bit, but I think it's just gonna come with just my skill set. I feel like my skill set and my ability is gonna really show this fight, and it's not gonna be too much about talent. It's gonna be a lot of nutrition. Is going to be
one more question.
With you starting slow,
you're basically like a sports team. Like both of y'all, people follow y'all like sports teams. Does that have some added pressure that people are going to be emotionally affected by the winner and the loser of this fight?
I feel like that's why it's so great, because people definitely going to be emotionally affected, and people are going to definitely get their emotions in, and people making it, a lot of people make it, especially on social media, they make it way more personal than
families are breaking up over y'all too, man.
They make it more personal than what it should be.
Is that more pressure for you guys?
Oh, nah, not at all. That's when greatness happens, man. That's why this is a great fight, because emotions are in it, and when you got a great fight like this or anything, a great event like this, people are gonna get emotional about it. So that's why it's great.
Errol, let him move down a little bit more, guys.
Hold on. Say something. You do one more question.
For me?
Yeah.
I was actually
about be okay.
No, I was actually about the southpaw stance. You being predominantly a natural southpaw, him being a fighter that switches from orthodox to southpaw.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for that, and what gives a southpaw such an advantage in the ring?
Well, back then people used to think it gives southpaws a lot of advantage in the ring because people weren't used to fighting southpaws. And I think that was kind of more old school than anything because I know, like, probably like 50 years ago, whatever, if you were southpaw, they'll change you to orthodox. If you wrote with your left hand, they'll make you write with your right hand just because they thought something wrong with left-handed people. So I feel like it wasn't really that many southpaws, so people didn't really see southpaws a lot. But, you know, with me, I feel like I spar a lot of southpaws in the gym. I didn't fought a lot of southpaws in the amateurs. You know, one term I done had like 4 or 5 southpaws in a row, so I seen a lot of southpaws. I know he switched. It's just me to be, I just got to stay focused and realize, you know, when he switched and when he don't switch, because you can get caught in lapses and you get hit with a straight left or you hit with a straight right just because you didn't notice that he switched the stance. So I just got to be on point. I know for him it's natural, him switching back and forth.
Errol, just to follow up on that, because when he turns southpaw, it takes away the other guy's jab. They're orthodox, and you know you're looked at as having the better jab. Is that going to be a big issue for him? Because you're southpaw too, and he doesn't get that angle when he switches like he normally does.
It might be. We'll see, man. We'll see.
You guys based on 147, because I know they asked you about a potential fight with Melo possibly at the AT&T Stadium. How long more do you think you stay away from some of those
How you doing?
We got one question.
How you doing?
Definitely way more difficult. You know, a lot of stuff didn't occur during that time, so you know I can see why. You know, I'm probably not the best favorite, but it's gonna be a definitely difficult fight. That's why I'm gonna have to be focused and I'm gonna have to be on point. Throughout the whole fight.
It's been said that sometimes the opponent across the ring is not as difficult as the one internally. What do you have to overcome internally to bring the best Errol Spence to the ring on July 29th?
I feel like, internally that's your toughest opponent throughout your whole life. That's going to be your toughest opponent ever. So, for me, internally, I just got to stay focused. Just stay focused. Stay 100% focused. And don't lose focus because even in the later round, you can get caught with a good shot because you lose focus for a split second. So I feel like that's what makes the great fighters great, because they always focus and they always on point, and they never had empty lapses where they lost focus and then something happens.
You talk about this layoff being more rest and not having to be recovery, and then Crawford's resume not being as difficult as yours. Is there a disadvantage for you in the kind of fight you've been in, the toughest kind of opponents you've had, and the injuries to now be facing and maybe fresher Terrence Crawford?
Not really. I mean, I done been through a lot and still, persevered. So, I feel like it's just another story, and they just add to, might have a feature movie, in place in the future, so, we'll see. But, for me, it's just about just being focused, keep being hungry, and keep trying to listen to my coach and just making sure that I'm on point 100% so I can give, the fans what they paid for and give everybody what they paid for, and show my greatness come July 29th.
Last time a lot of people doubted you might have been Mikey Garcia. And in this fight, obviously you're the underdog. What do you intend to do on the 29th to prove those people wrong, and where have they made their mistake like they made it with Mikey Garcia?
I don't know. It's going to go back and forth just because, I'm fighting another great fighter. So it has to go back and forth. And, that's why this fight's so great, because, 1 week they saying this, the next week they saying that. They see us at the press conference, now they changing it around. So it's always gonna change, because this how great this fight is, and this how even people think it is, that you get swings and different changes of how the fight's gonna play out. So I feel like that's why it's gonna be so great, because you don't know what's gonna happen.
Crawford says he's been visualizing this fight for years. When you visualize it, how does it play out?
A playoff means just, breaking, mentally, physically, shit, damn near spiritually. Just, me just breaking his will. Hopefully, I don't break his face too bad and just, come out with the victory.
Champ, what do you think is the biggest difference maker in this?
Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford's been saying that he made this fight happen. Who made the fight happen?
It definitely was me. Because I made concessions to make the fight happen, and it was basically my decision that the fight was gonna happen because basically even we had the bet 5 years ago. I gave them that and some, to make this fight happen. So, and a lot of the people who on the business side of it didn't think that I was gonna make that concession, but I did, and that was the deciding factor to make the fight happen.
So if it wasn't for you, the fight wouldn't have happened?
Definitely. But we're here now, and I feel like, it wasn't for me to make the fight happen, but it was definitely a group effort, us getting on FaceTime, us talking it out, and basically putting our pride down and dropping our egos, and just making this fight happen for the fans. And we made this fight happen for the fans. The fans got to show why there is a reward in taking risks, and the best fighting the best, and getting back to everybody fighting each other and make great fight happen. So,
final question from over here was about 42 years ago that Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns fought in one of the greatest welterweight fights of all time, maybe the greatest one. Is this going to be a classic just like that?
I think it's going to be a classic. I think he's definitely coming to fight. I'm coming to fight. If you see his mentality, and you see him fight, he put on great performances. He has no nonsense mentality. He always fighting back. And you push, he gonna push harder. So I think that's a recipe for a great fight. And you can't get nothing less but a great fight.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Champ. Hey, Errol. Fans say that this fight might start too late. I figure the other way. Do you feel the same thing, that this is actually the perfect time for this fight to take place as opposed to being too long?
It's definitely the perfect time, because if this fight would have happened 5 years ago, what we would have fought for. People glamour over the title so much, so I would have fought for the WBO. I had the IBF, he had the WBO. I'm more experienced now, and it's just a recipe for a great fight.
A lot's been made of the negotiations. What was the split you guys decided?
I don't know. That ain't in the news yet. I'm not the person to tell you.
Champ, what do you think will be the biggest difference maker in this fight? Is it your jab, your defense, your ring IQ? What separates you?
I feel like it's gonna be a multitude of everything. It's gonna be ingredients of everything in. It's gonna be the jab. It's gonna be ring IQ. It's gonna be for the minute. It's gonna be who can stay focused. It's gonna be award nutrition. It's gonna be everything coming together. And I feel like the best fighter is gonna win. Whoever can just stay focused and who can endure, and who's gonna be ready to put it all on the line when they have to.
Champ, you haven't fought in over a year. Do you think the ring layup will play a factor in this fight?
I don't think so. I've been through worse and haven't fought. It was like the car crash and the eye injury and other stuff that was going on, personally. So I just feel like it just makes for a better story. So.
You mentioned the sanctioning fees for the belt. I don't know if you're aware, but you'll be fighting for the Lincoln Ring Magazine welterweight championship. What are your thoughts on that? And who is your favorite?
I don't think the Ring Magazine takes sanctioning fees.
No, they don't.
Yeah, so that's cool. But
my thoughts on winning it?
Oh yeah, that's dope. That's a prestigious belt. You see all the greats wear the Ring Magazine belt. All the guys that I looked up to, and all the guys that I watched as a kid. So to get that belt, you know, that would mean everything for me, just to be, you know, with the same guys who had that belt. So I mean, that'd be great.
Who's your favorite 147 pounder of all time?
I don't really have. Well, Terry Norris was my favorite, but he was 154. So I like Michael Cousin. I like Donna Curry.
Texas, Jamaica.
Yeah, I like Donna Curry. You know, I guess
McCallum?
if I say Ray, I'd probably say Ray Leonard.
What fight have you had?
I know there's a two-way rematch clause. The rematch clause is at 154.
I don't know, man. You sure do ask a lot on the business side.
One more question. What's a past fight that you've had that prepares you best for Crawford?
You said what?
What past fight have you had that prepares you the best for Crawford?
I would say, you know, all of them, because I feel like, you know, he can box. He's like Kell Brook. He can bang, you know. He can bang like Sean Porter can bang. You know, he can fight. He has power. He has speed. So for me, I feel like all the fights, you know, gave me the experience that I need to come out with this victory, because you know, it's going to be tough. It's going to be grueling. And I think it's going to lead to just, you know, war nutrition, just lead to, you know, who wants it more rather than, you know, the talent, the skills, and the ability.
Lastly, he says he's been here before, but you're the pay-per-view fighter who's been on this stage many more times than him, has been a draw more times than him. What does that give you in the fight that maybe he hasn't seen before, or isn't ready to expect?
You know, I don't think, you know, yeah, he been here before, but he hasn't been with, you know, the top caliber, you know, opponents that I've been with, you know, at that stage of their career. The guys I fought, you know, they were world champions when I beat them. The guys they was kind of, you know, he was having trouble making weight, you know, way before he fought him. So, I mean, you can give him credit for that if you want to, Kell Brook, or for Sean Porter, who, if you looked at, I think he fought Sebastian before me. You looked at that fight, Sean Porter versus Sebastian. That was not an impressive fight at all in Sean Porter's show, and he looked bad. So, you know, he does have the skills and the talent.
You've been seeing great fighters like
Brian
Sabello.
You've been seeing like Brian Sabello and young hungry lions like that. How do you feel it's upping your game for a fight going against Terrence Crawford?
Oh, it's great, man. You gotta have you know, young guys who are super hungry and, you know, coming to fight. 'Cause with the young guys, they don't spar like sparring partners. They're hungry. They're ambitious too. You know, they want to be world champions. So they're gonna show you something different, and you hit them, they're gonna hit you back. You know, they're gonna bring a younger aspect. They got something to prove.
With everything that happened over the past few years, you know, given the accident, your eye surgery and stuff like that, how do you feel this type of Spence is currently now as a fighter versus your previous, before the accident, before that surgery?
You know, I feel great. You know, of course, you know, I'm not gonna be the same Errol Spence, but I feel good. I feel great. You know, my ability's been good. You know, showing great wins. You know, after my Crawford, after my eye injury. So we're gonna keep adding to the story, and, you know, coming out victorious every time.
Great welterweights in the 80s.
One last question from you.
Errol, what made you want to call up the sanctioning bodies today as opposed to during fight week, when maybe media presence would be a little bit more?
It just, you know, people gotta be held accountable. You know, where stuff coming from, where stuff going. You know, and, you know, if the boxers get held accountable for stuff, you know, other people should be held accountable too, and just knowing where is everything going to and what's it for, and you doing this, you doing that, but, you know, you saying it, but how do we know? So I feel like it should be, you know, different stuff for athletes. You know, there's no retirement for athletes. It's basically great insurance for athletes, and they out here risking their lives, and, losing brain cells, and basically doing something that's not really natural, getting hit in the head, and it's nothing to benefit them. It's just like the guy. What's the guy name in Florida?
Pritchard Cologne.
Yeah, just like Pritchard Cologne. Who's taking care of him? Who is he getting help from boxing, or is he getting help from these other sanctioned bodies and things like that? You hear about all these Hall of Fame fighters, and 99% of these guys, the guys we look up to, the guys we talk about, they're broke. And, they got to take accountability. They ain't do right with their money, but giving a 20-some-year-old guy all this money, what you think you're going to do with it, especially when they don't have people telling them or have people, showing them and giving them classes about, how they should be, handling their money, controlling their money. I mean, you give a 23, 24-year-old guy money who ain't never been to college, never had nothing, you give him all this money, what you think, he gonna do with it? I was almost, that tragic story, having my, buying Ferraris, and, that was just the tip of the iceberg, because, I was gonna buy other stuff, so, that was like a blessing. That was like a blessing in disguise that, that happened, because that really sat me down and made me think about, man, I'm not indestructible, and this life can end in a second, and boxing could be over with. I need to think about the future and not about right now. So I think that's where a lot of fighters need to think about. We need to have classes where these, promoters and managers make these boxers go to. So, at least you can say, you try to tell them, or you try to get them in there. Not everybody gonna listen, but we need fighters, like Andre Ward and fighters like Floyd, just to, tell these fighters and show these fighters that, and just tell them, man, y'all gotta do more with y'all money. Y'all can't just be buying all this crazy stuff, because all this material stuff is gonna go, and you got family, and if you can't live how you live while you was boxing, then you're not doing something right. You should be thinking, hey man, I'm trying to after I box, I still gotta live 40, 50 more years, God willing. So what you gonna do? Get a job? You making millions of dollars right now. You can be using that to invest in different things. So for me, I just wanted to tell everybody, just to be, especially the boxers, just to be conscious of that. To be conscious of the money you make, because it's a blessing right now, but that's why you got guys 40 years old, 45 years old, 50-some years old, still fighting today, and trying to make $1, because they don't have the means. Now they're not making the money they was making when they was 20, 30 years old.
Thank you guys. We got to wrap it up. We got to go.
Thank you, Errol. Thank you.